Hello to you all from a very, very warm Lima. I hope your conference has gotten off to a great start. Thank you very much to the organisers for asking me to provide you with a short video to help you kick off proceedings. I think events like this are fantastic, and UWC Maastricht should be incredibly proud that this conference is becoming one of the TOK events of the year. So your theme is "What are we?", which I have to say is simultaneously a brilliant question and also one that is virtually impossible to answer. But that, I suppose, is the point of TOK, a subject in which we try to answer impossible questions, normally by asking different impossible questions. There's a lot of potential here to discuss issues of identity, of what makes us who we are, both on an individual and collective level. Personal and shared knowledge, one of the key concepts in TOK. You could look at language, for example, and whether it represents a tool of individualism or links us to a larger group. You could look at ethics and whether we can ever escape the conditioning of our culture and society. You could look at religious affiliation or lack of, and whether we believe what we believe because of internal, indescribable feelings, or whether our faith has a rational, sensible reason for existing, making the bonds of society stronger and more efficacious. A lot of potential, and I'm sure you're going to have a great time discussing all this, agreeing with others, disagreeing with others, listening to the ideas that are often very different from your own. Because although I think TOK has always been important, I don't think it has ever been as important as it is today. One of the key skills that I think it imparts is open-mindedness, something we need more than ever, and the ability to listen to the views of others. I mean, really listen to the views of others. TOK's about realizing that there are many different perspectives. And by different perspectives, I don't mean a different favorite color, or a different football team we might follow, or a different style of sneakers we might put on. I'm talking about, sometimes, a completely different way of viewing the world. Outlooks and belief systems that can be uncomfortable and hard to comprehend. As Wade Davis put it, referring to indigenous knowledge, there are out there different visions of life making for completely different possibilities for existence. So I suggest one little task for all of you. Try to change your mind on something that you currently believe. It doesn't have to be a major part of your worldview. I'm not suggesting that you take up religion, give up your passport, change nationality, or go off and live in the forest. I'm just suggesting that at some point during the conference, you say to yourself, you know what, I think that makes a lot more sense than what I think, or I'd never thought of it in those terms before. It's an easy thing to say that we're open-minded and receptive to other ways of thinking, but what's your evidence that you really are like that? So, just one little recalibration of your ideas and beliefs, or failing that, one new idea that you'd never thought of before. During the course of the conference, I think one thing is going to come up repeatedly: nationality. Nationality is clearly an important aspect of who we are and forms a very, very key element of the way we understand our own and other people's identities. We're seeing, unfortunately right now, the negative side of that in terms of world politics. So I've wondered for a long time, how can we escape the divisive effect of nationality and at the same time focus on its diversity? In other words, how do we avoid being imprisoned by nationality and viewing identity as being dictated by it, but still celebrate the way it creates such vibrant and distinct cultures? I recently came across the work of Thais Selassie, and she provided me with one answer. In one of the best TED Talks I've ever seen, she explored a question that I'm sure you have asked and been asked many times already during this conference. Where are you from? It's one of those questions we ask instinctively, but it leads mostly to negative outcomes, as the answer you are given or give then shapes the way you think about another person. If you're from Britain, like me, then you automatically become a stiffly mannered, emotionally distant tea drinker who likes watching incomprehensible sport. If you're from Peru, where I live and where 2 of my children were born, then you're carefree and relaxed. You put everything off till mañana, and every social gathering turns into a fiesta. Okay, maybe that last cliche is true, but clearly there's a problem here. This question leads to often misleading generalizations. And how in any case can you answer it with any meaning? Do I, for example, come from the small town in which I was born, but which I haven't set foot in for 35 years? Do I come from the place I went to school or where I studied at university, the first city I worked in? Do I come from the place I'm living now and where I pay taxes? Is it to do with the language I speak? Is it the culture from which I've taken most of my ideas, the symbol on my passport? So Selassie advises abandoning this question completely and asking a different one instead. Rather than saying, where do you come from? Ask, where do you feel local? In other words, which city or country do you feel relaxed in? Speak the language, admire the government, want to be? Where have your formative experiences taken place? And I hope you have many answers to that question, because we are, all of us, I hope, multicultural, multinational, multilingual, and we should, all of us, extend our identity and allegiance beyond just one piece of cloth hanging from a flagpole. Have a great conference.